Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. If you're looking for life, relationship, business coaching, please go over to our main channel and check that out. But this is the Impact review for the 22nd of April, 2021. Not a bad lead into the pay per view, the Rebellion pay per view come Sunday. I think it's Sunday. Anyway, but Petey Williams with Josh Alexander defeats Madman Fulton with Ace Austin and Falaba with TJP on the BTI show. Show opens with a video recapping Rich Swann and Kenny Omega building to the Sunday Rebellion pay-per-view. They do a recap with both men coming to end up fighting each other. Good Brothers Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows defeat Decay, Crazy Steve, and Black Taurus with Rosemary. Match is a basic tag team match. Good Brothers cut off Taurus as he's distracted himself as the non-legal man. Some double team moves. Taurus gets Gallows with a plancha, which is he's a really big guy to be doing that. Matter of fact, too big in my opinion. Allowing him to tag Crazy Steve. Steve comes in, gets hot tag against Anderson. Gallows comes in and comes to the aid of his tag team partner, takes Taurus out, leaving Steve, and he then takes the Magic Killer for the pin. Good Brothers, as they go for the tag team titles come the pay-per-view, looking pretty good. Post-match, Anderson and Gallows cut a promo on Finjuice talking about 2020 being the best year Good Brothers ever had. That's bizarre. And made them comfortable. Finjuice has woken up Gallows and the Machine Gun, and Robertson and Finley now have to go against the Good Brothers team in the best state and fired up, ready to go. This could be good. I actually am looking forward to this particular match. D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker, the single best two-person team in wrestling as far as broadcasting is concerned, and honestly, I'd love to see Striker or D'Lo on AEW rather than Excalibur, and or on WWE rather than most of their announcing roster. Good package for the Impact roster, talking about Swann versus Omega matches. Everyone puts their hopes in Swann to retain. Giamella and James Storm have the ability to talk about Swann having Omega's number at Hard to Kill and how everyone is underestimating him as the underdog. Video package of Violence by Design versus Impact roster. Young cuts a promo talking about James Storm and how the world belongs to them. And then they play the promo where the challenge for the pay-per-view takes place. Tennille Dashwood with Caleb with a K defeats Susan with Deanna Purrazzo. Nothing major going on here. Purrazzo defends against Dashwood at Rebellion. If Dashwood wins, I riot. Both women's heel intentions make it hard to determine who's supposed to come next and what's going up. And they're building up some tension between Dashwood and Purrazzo. Dashwood having some technical knowledge since she's going against Purrazzo, who is one of the better women and actually wasted on this brand, in my opinion. Dashwood pulls out a couple of moves and locks that she hasn't been doing for a while. She hits a spotlight kick to win. Not the best match by any stretch of the imagination, but at least they tried to tell a story that works. Post-match, Dashwood talks some trash about Purrazzo, telling her to keep saying she's one step up to challenge her. Dashwood's bigger than Purrazzo, and she starts a women's revolution, ready to take the championship at Rebellion. As mentioned, I really hope that doesn't happen. Brian Myers cuts a promo on Matt Cardona saying he evolved where Cardona still tries to live from his YouTube fame from years ago. His eye has healed and he is ready to take out Cardona from his pathway. Promo from Omega versus Swann. Roster members talking about who they're rooting for. Everyone is behind Swann except the Good Brothers. Callahan cuts a video promo asking why Trey McKell didn't accept his offer and saying that he would have to make an example out of him at Rebellion. He will not allow him to breather and show his passion. He'll make sure that Miguel doesn't get up at all. Shira with Rohit Raju defeats Jake something. No real story here. Nobody really cares about the match, to be honest. They just fight. Match starts with back and forth action. Shira cuts him off. Something makes a comeback and does come close to winning with a spear in the corner. Raju distracts referee. Something is also distracted, and Shira hits a sky high, gets a win. Video train Miguel, trainer talking about Miguel's match at Rebellion. Miguel basically has to prove himself. Then there's another video package. Geez, so many video packages. It's ridiculous. Undisputed Impact Champion and TNA World Champion Rich Swann comes down to the ring, talks about Kenny Omega and how he behaved last week at the press conference. Swann makes the mistake of thinking that he'd shake hands like a gentleman. He said if Omega's so eager to attack Swann, come out and fight. Omega and Callis interrupted via satellite. They said they're not in the building, but they will be on Sunday. Omega's there to win the title. He has an ego. He's the right to becoming world champion in 3 different promotions around the world. I guess people think this is a good promo. I don't like Omega, so it's hard for me to say. I mean, he's cocky, and he legitimately makes me not like him. But at the end of the day, is there anyone who isn't a fan of AEW that buys this show because Omega's on it? I don't think so. After the video ends, Moose makes his surprise return to Impact. He's been gone since losing the title in the unification match at Sacrifice. He says he's there to congratulate Swann after having time to think about it. And Moose said he's bigger, faster, and more skilled than Omega. Moose didn't have stooges like Omega did, and he wasn't able to defeat Swann. He told Swann he better not lose the championship to Omega or he'll have to answer to him. Moose is great, but the promo itself, well, left a little to be desired. Swann closed it saying Sunday he'll win the AEW championship, and that he will pin Moose again after he does. Another video package of the roster talking about the Omega and Swann match makes everybody look like they're just hangers-on for the sake of things. Heels back up Omega, and babyfaces back up Swann. And then new vignette for Taylor Wilde. And there's some footage that leads us to believe she'll probably make her re-debut at pay-per-view. Jordana Grace defeats Kiera Hogan with Tasha Steelz DQ. Match starts with Grace getting some offense in. Grace is out there by herself, and so Hogan cuts her off with some distractions from her partner. Grace starts to come back. Steelz just jumps in and attacks her for the DQ. Post-match, they double-team Grace. Rachel Ellering runs down, so apparently she's part of the promotion now. Post-match, Grace introduces Ellering as her tag team partner for Rebellion. Impact Plus flashback. Moment of the week, Trey Miguel versus Suicide versus Raju and Chris Bay from 2020. I don't know why, if you have all this footage of back when the company was bigger, why you would be going back only a year. Anyway, more video packages for Omega versus Swann. Recapping the main event of Sacrifice. Swann defeats Moose to unify the Impact and TNA World Championship. Brown and Striker run down the updated card for Rebellion. Fire and Flame versus Jordana Grace and Rachel Ellering has been added. And Eric Young with Violence by Design defeat Eddie Edwards with James Storm, Chris Sabin, and Willie Mack. Match starts with some back and forth action. Mat wrestling. Edwards comes out on top. Young manages to get out. Edwards headlocks and brings him back into it. Edwards gets dropped on the ropes and knocked down, finally cutting Edwards off. Young works over his head and neck and pushing towards the pile driver. Both men exchange a bunch of strikes, and then on the top rope, Edwards drops Young with a superplex. Edwards then gets a near fall with a Blue Thunder Bomb, Tiger Bomb. Young hits a Death Valley Driver. Edwards sets up Boston Knee Party. Young drops to the floor. Edwards follows with a dive, triggering both corners to get involved in a brawl. Then they get back in the ring. Young gets Edwards in a small package, gets the win. I don't know. It was fine. Not a way I'd push home to the pay-per-view, especially with all the packages on the show. Honestly, the pay-per-view should be good, but I was able to capitalize this show that was 2 hours in less than 15 minutes, which should tell you it was a lot of filler and, to me, a waste of TV time. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.